So you know the Curb Your Enthusiasm, Cheryl Hines? Mm-hmm. And her name's Cheryl on the show too, right?
Yep.
Okay, so always interesting when... You know what the funniest one is?
Well, but he's Larry David. I think they're...
Yeah, but she's not playing herself.
Yeah, I know. That's true.
Which is funny, especially in a show when a lot of people are playing themselves, right?
Yeah, that is true.
But it is also... I always love it when, you see the person's name and it was like, like the guy's name's Brian and then you see his real name was Ryan. Like they just give him a tiny name change for the show. But this was very, very interesting. And I feel like up your alley too.
Mm-hmm. I actually didn't know this about her husband.
Either did I. It's kind of the Mr. Show situation.
Yeah.
So Cheryl Hines, who's probably pretty similar to her character in the show, big Hollywood.
Are you saying David Cross with the Amber Tamblyn thing?
No, well, that as well. But I was saying the
Mr.
Show guy that was at the thing, that was at the Capitol riot and all that sort of stuff. But even more so, yes, it was the David Cross, Amber Tamblyn thing. But basically what happened is her wife is
husband.
like her husband is like doing rallies and stuff.
Yeah.
Like freedom rallies.
He's
and
also
like
fucking
anti-mandates and all
JFK's
that
nephew.
stuff. And he's JFK's nephew. And she's getting beat up on Hollywood. And then she makes a big fucking stance being like, yeah, my husband's wrong. I'm disgusted.
It's like the
with
Kellyanne Conway and shit where they're polar opposite politically, where he's like literally like but again, he's just like this freedom guy and she's just like, I'm an actress, I take the path of least resistance.
Well, the path, sure, you can call that the path of least resistance, but the path of least resistance is not dating this guy. This is the thing.
Well, but he wasn't this guy. He was like a fucking a political elite, like establishment elite, until like the kind of stuff shifted recently. Like he was probably pretty normal.
Well, she could have also just not said anything, though.
But I'm saying pre-Trump, he was just like a Kennedy. She married into the Kennedys.
I'm sure that this Cheryl Hines girl is very outspoken about all her political issues as well.
For sure.
My point is, I was watching this guy and he was talking about this YouTube video of like celebrity couples that like work the best, because it is really interesting. Like there's two types. There's like the one where one person's really famous and the other person sort of like supports them and is kind of, in the shadow a little bit, but maybe they don't want to be in the limelight. But obviously the money and everything helps everything together. It's both their money or whatever right now. Or there's the ones where they work in unison. And they were kind of saying like, a Jay-Z, Beyonce would probably be like a good version of that, where it's like, it seems like everything they do sort of boosts the other's profile too.
Yeah, they're a real power couple.
And then there's the one where everything the one person does is like hurting the other person. Mm-hmm. And it seems like those couples are so funny because they both have public lives that are hurting each other. And it was like, at that point, you like break up.
Well, it's not so easy.
What do you mean it's not so easy?
Well, I mean, she doesn't want to leave the Kennedys. They got some fucking sick compounds.
You're saying that the reason she doesn't want to leave is
because the thing is, she only had to comment on this because she got called out on it. Because she's on Twitter. Like, look, if she wasn't on Twitter, like if she was like, look, I could live without being on Twitter, then she could they could just be like, yo, they can't ever ask her what her opinions are about this stuff.
Well, she
makes herself available to have to like.
So you're downplaying what's happening right now.
I'm not downplaying. I'm just saying she's putting herself in that position.
Right. But you're underestimating. You think that her not going to every like Hollywood party and fucking every person's like, you're living a double life, right? And okay, we're in comedy. Right?
Yeah.
Very similar. Mm-hmm. Do you think like a super left-wing girl could have like a super fucking right-wing, like anti-vax boyfriend? What do you think how would she be treated in the scene?
Oh, I mean, she'd be treated like a fucking
So what do you
turncoat.
mean? So you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Okay, so obviously this is a big issue for them, right?
Yeah.
And she basically comes out, and then the second part is very much a bitch
You didn't even
move.
say what the main issue was, is that he compared the vaccine stuff to Holocaust.
Yeah.
And Frank. By the way, let's ask Cheryl Hines, because I read this, and the first thing I said was, remember when AOC was like, the fucking detention facilities were like concentration camps 2 years ago? The facilities that are currently in operation, like it's not like fucking AOC was like 2 years ago, was like, yo, these are concentration camps, and they've been closed since. They're still open.
What does Cheryl Hines have to say about that?
Yeah, what do you got to say about that, old Sherry?
Sherry. Well, she goes, he basically said, even in Hitler's Germany, you could cross the Alps to Switzerland. You could hide in an attic like Anne Frank did, Kennedy said, the 68-year-old nephew of John F. Kennedy at the anti-vax rally in Washington, D.C. Then he goes, today, the mechanisms are being put in place so none of us can run and hide. Then Cheryl decided she's going to go public. Dude, if I'm dating a girl and she's out there putting public statements about me, I'm saying that's a pretty...
Yeah, but again, it's because people were tweeting at her being like, yo, what's your comment?
I don't care.
That? Yeah. Well, I'd be
as far as I'm concerned,
lose the Twitter.
No. As far as I'm concerned, that's like a deal breaker.
Yeah.
You don't see that as a deal breaker?
No, I agree. It's like,
your girlfriend publicly going against you?
It's like the Amber Tamlin thing where you're just like, this is insane. It's like
I see that as a deal breaker.
Yeah. I mean, it's not, well, again, it is a deal breaker, but also.
Probably my main deal breaker is like fucking talking shit about me publicly.
But the thing is, they're in a fucking, like, they're married for however many years. It's like, this is such a new thing for their relationship, I feel. Like, she was not having pre-Trump. She was a fucking Kennedy. There was no denouncing anything. Nobody gave her shit for anything.
Okay, what's your point of that, though?
I'm just saying, yeah, it is a deal breaker, but it's harder when you're like 65 and you're like, what? I'm getting divorced because she just like did a tweet about me? He's probably just like, whatever. Like,
well, this is, I think, so I don't think either of us are right or wrong. We're just showing how we see it, whereas not a bitch.
Yeah.
If my fucking chick's out there, I don't go, oh, I'm 65. If I'm 65 and a Kennedy and fucking rich, I go, yeah. I don't need, and my whole thing is freedom mandates and all this stuff. Yeah, beat it, Hollywood bitch. I'm done.
I mean, I'm sure
she's out there tweeting about me.
I mean, the worst was by far the fucking Kellyanne Conway thing with whatever her husband was.
Whereas your girlfriend could be like, oh, small dick Danny out there. I do not. The comments, I would like to apologize.
I wouldn't be like,
for my husband's comments and the fact that he went for seconds multiple times.
He even said in his thing where they had some party and the party was like, well,
that's what I was just
mandatory.
Let me read that. That's probably the best part of the article. Yeah. So this was my favorite part of the whole thing. Then he goes, during the holidays last year, Hines and her husband threw a party at their California home. Guests were allegedly told to be vaccinated in order to attend and to be tested for COVID-19 before showing up to celebrate with the couple. This is Hines and Kennedy.
Kennedy was like, how do you be tested for something that doesn't exist?
yeah. Kennedy made a statement on the party prerequisite saying, oh, I guess I'm not the boss at my own house. So we know what kind of guy Kennedy is.
Yeah. He just lets him do his little fucking shit. She lets him do his stuff on the weekends. Go do your little thing. Take it easy on the Holocaust comparisons.
How funny is that, though? Because that really does show that this guy's, he's going to rallies for the vax to stop the mandates in the country, but then at his own house, you have to be vaxxed to get in his own house. Dude,
do you think
on.
Do you think she checks his vax status when he comes home? He goes,
come on.
He goes, honey, we're going to do this again? I'm not vaccinated.
That is big.
But again, this is
the same thing about
this article though, because this is a People article and they say this is an anti-vax thing or whatever. But like, is he anti-vax or is he anti-mandate? Because that thing in Washington was an anti-mandate.
He's anti-mandate.
Well, because everybody says like they call like with Tucker Carlson, for example, like I don't know for sure, but like people kind of are speculating. They're like he's definitely vaccinated. Like, Fox, you have to be vaccinated to work there. Like, they have all these things where people put the pieces, and you're like, he has to be vaccinated. But then people call him anti-vax, and he's like, no, I'm anti-mandate.
No shit, yeah.
Yeah, so anyways.
Yeah. No, they love to fucking put them all together into one big bundle.
I mean, it's easier.
But the funny, it's kind of the same thing as the Gab thing or whatever. It's like, these people that are like, hey, you should be able to say it. And then the minute it's their thing, they go, well, not here, though. It's like, it almost is this. It is a little bit like if you're going to be out there telling the government, oh, you should do this and this and this, but you can't even make that happen in your own house.
Oh, yes.
So I'm saying that this is just a crazy relationship all around.
You're saying he should have hit the bricks.
Well, also maybe that's why, like you go at home and you get bitched around so much, and then you go to your Hollywood parties and everyone bitches you around, and then you go, it really is like you go over and you, yes, honey, okay, whatever you want, honey, and then you go to your like men's rights thing, and you're kind of like, them telling us what to do. We'll go home and we'll fucking tell them to bake fucking food.
It's literally Al Bundy going into his garage and doing no, ma'am. That's what it is. He goes, yes, Peg, and then he goes into the garage and he goes, no, No, ma'am, it's in session.
I love the idea of going to do a speech at the mandates, and then you're coming home and you're like, hey, one of my buddies is coming over. Imagine this. You're legitimately giving a speech at the mandate rally, being like, the restaurants should not letting people in because of restaurants is blasphemy. This is Nazi Germany. And then you go, come on, boys, let's have a beer at my place. And then you go get carted by your wife. They can't come in for a brew.
Yeah, that's
fucking Kennedys.
Oh yeah, but I imagine this friction in their relationship has only existed in the last 5 years. If I could guess,
I would definitely guess that.
Yeah. Like before that, they were just like this cushy fucking maybe these minor disagreements, but she was probably just like, I'm a fucking Kennedy, yo. Like this is the best.
And then she probably
she was like, oh, like yeah. And then she's part of the resistance.
Now he's part of the resistance.
Now he's part of the resistance with the new resistance.
Yeah.
And like probably at first it was like these minor differences. But I bet you they had like no differences 5 years ago. And now they're like, now this is the thing that divided them. Like a lot of people, there's families who are straight up like falling apart because it turns out some of them are against this shit and some of them aren't. But nobody ever knew these positions until the thing happened.
He got banned from Instagram for sharing misinformation and stuff. So he's getting like hit by all that stuff. And then he still has to go to their stupid Hollywood parties and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
This guy's living a crappy life, man. I wish I could fucking get him I wish I could have this guy's ear for a little bit and be like, buddy, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You've got more money than her. It's not like, you know what I mean?
He goes, my money is her money now.
Yeah, idiot.
He goes, you know how expensive it is to divorce her? I'm a fucking Kennedy. She's going to take the whole Hyannis compound.
What a fucking scam.
Yeah.